Senator Warren, how are you? How was the debate tonight for you?
I thought it was great. Look, it's a chance to talk with millions of Americans about what's broken in our country and, more importantly, about what we're going to do about it.
So there was so much hype. It was going to be the first debate with you and Vice President Biden right next to each other and Bernie Sanders.
And it was.
And how was it? Do you think you were able to separate yourself from the Vice President?
Look, I got out there and talked about what I believe in. I got out there and talked about the things I'm fighting for. I got a chance to talk with America about the importance of public schools and how I've wanted to be a school teacher since I was in second grade. I just think it's a terrific opportunity, these debates, for each one of us on that stage to be able to talk with the American people about who we are and, if you give us the chance, where we want to lead this country. And all I hope for is that I was as clear as I could be.
You say clear throughout the night. You said, let me be clear.
Oh, did I?
But just a little bit. But just when you were talking about Medicare for All, the Vice President pressed you on how you were going to pay for this and if you were going to have to tax the middle class to cover Medicare for All. What is the answer to that question? How do we pay for Medicare for All, and are we going to tax the middle class?
Let's do two parts to this.
Yeah.
We are paying for health care all across America right now. We pay for it every single time. Somebody has to do a copay every time they pay insurance premiums. Every single time somebody doesn't have a prescription filled and they get sicker or they don't have a lump checked out because they're afraid they can't manage the copay. We are paying and we are paying and we are paying. We're paying when rural hospitals across this country say, in effect, I just can't do this anymore. I can't keep hiring people to manage all the insurance forms. I can't keep fighting on the phone with the insurance companies. Our margins are too thin, and I can't take care of uncompensated care. So we are paying and paying and paying, and people are paying out of pocket on this with premiums and with copays and with uncovered prescriptions and to try to get care that their doctors say they need, but their insurance company doesn't think they need it. So this is how I look at it. Yeah. We're going to raise taxes on the very top of the income spectrum. We're going to raise taxes on the biggest corporations. But families are going to pay less, and that's what matters.
You had a moment over the weekend at the New Hampshire convention. Every time I look down at the screen, Elizabeth Warren's running somewhere. You're sprinting everywhere. Your campaign sort of has taken off. The polls have been steady, but when we talk to Matt Dowd, we see a little bit of surging from Elizabeth Warren, no doubt. Why do you think your campaign has caught fire?
Look, I think that this is about the opportunity you get when you go out and meet people face to face and talk to people honestly all around this country. Since I made the decision not to spend my time with a bunch of bazillionaires behind closed doors and corporate executives and lobbyists, it actually gave me a lot of time. So I've done 130 town halls. I've been to 26 states and Puerto Rico. I've taken literally thousands of unfiltered questions. And here's the key measure of democracy. I've done over 50,000 selfies.
So you're definitely winning the selfie game. You know, I covered the Trump campaign. I saw President Trump, then candidate Trump, pick apart what was described as the greatest Republican sort of candidates that have come across in decades, people who had plans, people who were incredibly smart, people who thought they were going to win that nomination, and he picked them apart. What will you tell Democrats who are worried about the E factor, electability? Why can you take that fight to Donald Trump?
Oh, look, I know how to fight and I know how to win, but I've been around this block before. Back in 2012, we had in Massachusetts a very popular incumbent Republican senator, and people told me, you should get in the race, you should run against him. Now, you'll lose, but you should run against him. You know, for which I want to say Democrats get a better sales pitch. But people told me, Massachusetts is not going to elect a woman, either as senator or governor. It's just not going to happen, and you've never done this before. So I thought, well, then I'm going to make every day count. And I'm going to do two things every single day. I'm going to find some people, and I'm going to talk to them about the changes we should make in Washington and we can make. And the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to meet a little girl. I'm going to tell her my name's Elizabeth and I'm running for Senate because that's what girls do. And then we'll pinky swear to remember. Those two things I did every single day. And I went from 17.5 points down to beating that guy by 7.5 points.
Senator
Elizabeth
Warren, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
So Lindsey Davis asked an important question about racial justice and about criminal justice reform, and I know I've heard you on the trail talk about this. You've got a plan for that.
That's right.
And so I would love to hear you talk about it, because I don't know that you got the chance to really talk about it.
I didn't, and I appreciate that you would ask this. I don't just have one plan on racial justice. I have really woven the question of racial justice into almost everything I'm doing, and there's a reason for that. We cannot be an America that says, if you don't stop to observe what's happening on race, then shoot, it must all be fair. So, for example, I've got a housing plan, and the housing plan is to spend money to build about 1.2 million new housing units in America. That's housing for middle-class families and for working-class families, for the working poor, for the poor, for people with disabilities, for seniors who want to age in place, for people who are homeless. What's happened is our government has just backed out of that part of the housing business at the same time that developers decided to go build McMansions instead of the 2-bedroom, 1-bath that I grew up in with the converted garage where my 3 brothers slept. So I have a big, bold housing plan, and it's got some great pieces about putting incentives out there to get communities to work together. It's about how to do it in rural areas, how to put that money into local communities, but it has one more part to it, and that is the part that stops to acknowledge. Housing, buying a home, is the #1 way in America that middle-class families build wealth, and it's the #1 way they pass that wealth from generation to generation. So it should surprise no one that in America, our federal government subsidized the purchase of housing for white people, but not for black people. It was redlining. It caused a black-white wealth gap in this country that has persisted to this day. Those discriminatory laws were there in the 1960s, and until we're ready to take them on, it's not going to change. So part of my bill is housing for everybody, but let's carve out a special part for people who live in areas that were formerly redlined. And I do that through one area after another. Race matters in America, and we better take it on and talk about it honestly.
Senator Warren, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Enjoy that spin room. All right, lots of great reporters out there.
Fun.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.